China's lead poisoning scandal, officials under investigation. Imagine hundreds of young children exposed to dangerous lead levels, with those trusted to protect their health instead covering up the truth. This is not a fictional nightmare, but a recent reality in northwestern China. In Gansu province, a devastating lead poisoning scandal has not only shocked the nation, but also exposed deep failures in the systems meant to safeguard public health. Now, an official investigation has revealed that both the Provincial Disease Control Agency and a major hospital went as far as faking test results, raising serious questions about accountability and transparency in public institutions. But here's where it gets controversial. Nearly 2 weeks after police in Tianshui City detained 8 individuals linked to the poisoning at Heshapeixin Kindergarten, an incident that left over 200 children with dangerously high blood lead levels, the scandal has widened. Instead of merely blaming a few local actors, the investigation points to systemic neglect and deception at higher levels. The report, released on Sunday by the provincial government, found that the Gansu Provincial Center for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, and the Tianshui Second People's Hospital manipulated both the process and the outcomes of blood tests for the affected children. And this is the part most people miss. The investigation targets 10 officials, including some of the province's top health authorities. Those facing disciplinary action include Zhong Hao, the Communist Party chief for the Gansu Health Commission, Liu Borong, the director of the same commission, Gan Xiaoju, director of the Provincial Disease Control Bureau, Feng Wenj, secretary of the Tianshui Municipal Party Committee, and Liu Lijiang, the mayor of Tianshui. Their alleged involvement, either through oversight or complicity, casts a long shadow over the credibility of China's health oversight mechanisms. Provincial leaders expressed profound sorrow over the incident, describing it as a national disgrace. Their public apology to the children and families affected is a rare admission of systemic failure. Meanwhile, the government has pledged to cover the cost of medical treatment for the children, including reimbursing any expenses incurred at out-of-city hospitals. Here's a question to ponder: when those empowered to protect public health instead betray that trust, should the punishment stop at low-level staff, or must it reach the very top? This case challenges the notion that local actors are always the only ones to blame when things go wrong in large bureaucracies. Is the current system of accountability sufficient, or are stronger safeguards, and perhaps even more transparency, needed to prevent such tragedies? What do you think? Should high-ranking officials face harsher consequences when systemic failures occur, or does the responsibility lie elsewhere? Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe cultural, institutional, or individual factors are most to blame in scandals like this? The discussion is just beginning, and your voice matters. Lead poisoning scandal in China, a call for accountability. A shocking lead poisoning scandal in China has once again exposed the country's dark side, where the tendency to cover up and prioritize political performance over public health remains disturbingly strong. In a small city in northwestern China, over 200 families were left grappling with the terrifying possibility that their children had been poisoned. Some had been experiencing stomachaches and other symptoms for months, but when they sought medical attention, they were told their blood lead levels were normal. It was only when these concerned parents sought a second opinion in a neighboring province that the truth began to emerge: their children had dangerously high levels of lead in their blood, in some cases up to 40 times the normal level. The scandal finally came to light in Tianshui, Gansu province, when local authorities admitted that a kindergarten had been using inedible paint in its pastries, causing 233 out of 251 children to have abnormal blood lead levels. 8 individuals were detained in connection with this horrifying incident. However, the public's outrage did not subside, and many demanded a more thorough investigation. Over the weekend, the Gansu government announced an expanded probe, involving provincial officials and a task force from the State Council. But why did it come to this? The Tianshui government had ample opportunity to handle this crisis responsibly and protect its citizens. Unfortunately, this is a common occurrence in a system where political success is valued above all else, and officials often prioritize their own interests over the well-being of the people they serve. And here's where it gets even more controversial: local officials allegedly attempted to suppress the matter, likely hoping to avoid media scrutiny and the attention of their superiors. This raises serious questions about the integrity and accountability of those in power. So, what's your take on this? Do you think this scandal is an isolated incident, or does it reflect a deeper systemic issue? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's spark a conversation about the importance of transparency and public health. Gansu kindergarten lead scandal, 6 arrested, 17 under probe. Imagine trusting a kindergarten to nourish your child, only to discover their meals contain dangerously high lead levels, a nightmare scenario that became horrifying reality in China's Gansu province. Official investigations revealed lead concentrations in school meals at Heshapeixin kindergarten were over 1,000 times higher than safety standards, directly linking to 247 children developing abnormal blood lead levels. But here's where it gets controversial: this wasn't accidental contamination. Authorities confirmed kitchen staff deliberately mixed industrial-grade pigments into flour to create brightly colored corn rolls and date cakes, prioritizing visual appeal over child safety. /n/. The fallout has been severe. 6 individuals face criminal charges while 17 officials and medical personnel are under investigation. Shockingly, the probe uncovered systemic failures. Education officials allegedly accepted bribes from the kindergarten's investor, while quarterly food inspections became meaningless formalities that failed to detect the illegal additives. And this is the part most people miss: the corruption extended to testing facilities. Gansu's Provincial Center for Disease Control violated testing protocols to produce false reports, and Tianquay Second Hospital deliberately altered blood lead results to hide the crisis. /n/NAS of the latest update, all affected children have received treatment, with 234 of 235 hospitalized minors discharged after successful blood lead reduction. Environmental tests cleared the kindergarten's surroundings of contamination, confirming the poison came exclusively from kitchen practices. In a sweeping response, Gansu Hospital will now manage Tianquay Second Hospital, deploying 36 specialists and new equipment to prevent future testing failures. /n/N This case forces uncomfortable questions: how many layers of oversight must fail before children are poisoned by their own meals? And why do institutions charged with protection prioritize covering mistakes over saving lives? Share your reactions below. Do you believe these reforms will prevent future tragedies, or is this symptomatic of deeper systemic issues in institutional accountability?